because I remember my first trial, my first death penalty case I did. I was sitting in there and I was a newer court reporter and I could feel the tension in the air. And I remember my hands on my machine just shaking.
I'm saying Thug is a part of this. There's no evidence to support that he's a part of this. So I can throw this lie off to throw them off my tracks, but they're going to realize, figure out that it's BS.
If you're not ready, then go ahead and tell me you're not ready.
I object to you getting records. You've been intrusive into people's personal lives.
In other words, the car didn't hit him, and he wasn't hit by the car.
I'm not a lawyer, but
are y'all keeping up?
I'm not a lawyer, but
the debrief.
Hello and welcome to another episode of I'm Not a Lawyer, but
the debrief.
I am Mel, aka I'm Not a Lawyer, but, and I'm joined by my co-host
Gooseby. How y'all doing?
And before we get into this episode, we want to thank our sponsor, HelloFresh, and we're going to tell you more about them in the episode. We are not lawyers or legal experts, but we get on this podcast and talk about legal things. We give you a recap on them, break them down. I will do occasionally if there's something like lawsuit-wise anyway, that's worth breaking down. We talk about that, have a little cackle every now and again, and sometimes we have guests join us. So for today's episode, there's going to be two parts to today's episode. It is a YSL episode, so I'm telling you now, this episode will be focused on YSL in some capacity. So the first part of this episode, we will be joined by a guest. And then the second part, we'll just kind of talk about what's happened in the trial this week. So we are so excited because we have a very special guest joining us today. And that is none other than Miss Kristina Weaver. Hello.
Hi.
Hello, Miss Weaver.
Hello. Nice to meet you both.
Nice to meet you as well.
Thank you for being here. We're so excited to get into, and heads up to the audience, we're not going to talk YSL, but Kristina Weaver is a court reporter. It was the court reporter that was in Glanville, Judge Glanville's courtroom. So we have all the questions about what is a court reporter? What do you do? How'd you get into it? All of that. So we're so excited to get into it. And I think the first question is that what exactly is a court reporter?
Okay, so I missed a little of what you were saying because I think my computer, the internet froze. So what is a court reporter? So so we sit in the courtroom and we take down everything verbatim that is said. And there's different methods. I personally have the steno machine. So it's my job to just make a record. And when we say make a record, it means, for the record, it's for the transcript. Okay. So I take down everything everybody says. And and then I do a transcript of it, and that's what is used for appeals or for whatever they need it for down the road. So
it's the official transcript of like what is happening in a trial or a case or like
it's what everybody said. Yes. I can't put emotion in there. I can't put witness laughed or witness rolled eyes. I mean, that's why a lot of times in trial you'll see somebody say, well, why did you pause before you answered that? Or why did you roll your eyes? They'll say that because I can't, I only put the spoken word down.
Got it. Okay. Like one time I was watching a trial and they said, why did you shrug your shoulders? And it's because you are not typing that. Okay. And
because they're my shoulders.
Yes.
I heard that.
You mentioned a steno machine?
Right.
What is it? Is it a typewriter?
It is not. It's got, I went and counted the keys on it because people always ask me how many keys are on there, and I never counted. So I did. So there's 20 keys on there, and it's its own little language. It sounds crazy, but each key on there is a sound. Instead of like on a typewriter, it's a letter. It's a sound, and we combine the sounds to make words and phrases. It's the only way you can keep up with, you could never type what people are saying that fast. So I passed the I passed a test of 225 words a minute with the
Oh my
National
gosh.
Court Reporters Association. So yeah, you can't do that on a typewriter.
Wow. So is it similar to what is it? The Morse code?
Hello?
Is that the Morse code? The dee 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 dee?
No, but it probably sounds as crazy as that. Yeah,
Yeah.
but it's its own little language, and it's really not hard to learn the machine. I don't think it is. The hard part is getting your speed,
Okay.
and it's getting it to become natural. Like,
So go ahead.
This is so interesting because
well, I have an extra machine here at home.
Yes.
oh yeah, I
We
would
Oh,
have a
love to see
demonstrative
it.
aid.
Because now that I think about it, it sits down, so I just kind of look like I'm sitting there, and you don't see the machine. But like, this is my machine I have here at home. And
Okay.
it has a little screen on it, and then these are the keys.
Oh.
Wow.
And I combine all these keys to make words and phrases and things
oh my
like
gosh.
that. Now, and then
Video
my
game console.
It's funny that you say that, because I kind of view it like I just love my job and I never get bored with it. And I feel like I'm playing a video game. I mean, I'm hitting the words and I'm trying to see how accurate they come up on my computer screen. Because, well, not to bore you, but there's a software program and I plug in to my computer, and depending on how accurately I hit the keys, the words come up on the screen. And that feeds into the judge's computer, and that's called real time. So that's where you'll see him go, maybe before he rules on an objection, he'll go, hold on, and you can see he's looking at his
Yeah.
computer to get the words of what was said.
Oh, I
Um,
see. So as you're doing it, it's feeding into his, so he is able
Right.
to go back and see what was said.
Exactly. Exactly.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
So what's the name of the machine again?
It's it's a stenography machine would be the generic term, and then there's different kinds.
Okay, so my question is, did you ever hear of this machine in school?
Well, the reason I became a court reporter was somebody came to our school when I was a senior in high school. They came and they were trying to recruit court reporters. So they came and they talked to us about it, and I thought, that's interesting. But it wasn't until maybe like 7 years later I decided I wanted to try it. But it was always in the back of my mind. I thought, it's kind of cool.
I was today years old.
Today. So what did you think I was what did you think was going on? You thought I was on a typewriter.
or a computer, typing, because my wife, she does, when she writes up her reports, she's at the computer and she's just like, click,
But not
I'm
nearly
like,
as fast.
this is so fast. And I'm thinking you are just like super, super fast with it.
And you have to remember too, not am I only hitting everything people say, but I have to denote who said it.
Oh.
This is
So before everybody speaks, so I mean, it's a brain thing. People will say, I bet your hands get so tired. And I'm like, they don't. It's my brain that gets tired by the end of the day. And I mean, I hear, I don't know if you caught me like yelling at attorneys a lot, but I would be like, who just said that? Because they'll say objection. And I'm supposed to know out of the 6 male or however many,
Yeah.
okay, who
was
said that?
saying it?
Oh, but you
Yeah.
are good at reading lips, by the way. Earlier when I said I'll be back and you could tell what I said, I was impressed with that.
so what happens if you have to backspace?
Oh, I have a delete button. Yes, I back up. And then, what is coming up on my computer screen and the judge's screen, it's a rough draft. So sitting in court is just one little piece of the job. After that, you have to do a transcript where then you go through and you clean it all up. And I have a backup audio
Oh.
that I can verify stuff.
Okay.
And then after that, I go through and proofread it. So it's like I'm reliving the trial
Yeah.
2 more times after
And
actually
how-
sitting through it.
So when you have a trial that obviously is every day or many days, how are you in the trial doing your court reporting? When do you have the time to then translate, make sure it's right, do your proofreading, and then actually produce the transcript? Like, when does that happen? Typically after a trial is complete? Like, what is the process?
That right there is why court reporters, especially in Superior Court where we deal with the felonies, that's why we're exhausted all the time, because when we're not in court, we're having to work on transcripts. So that's something you do at weekends and at night. Thankfully, right now, I'm just able to work on these transcripts that the judge needs. So I've been able to just devote all my time to it. But normally it's, you're just working on the transcripts when you're not in the courtroom. Sometimes you have to get someone to cover for you. Like, can you take my trial next week? Because I got to finish this transcript. And it's one of those jobs where, like, you don't go to bed at night knowing everything's complete. There's always something.
Always.
Yeah. If you have that personality that needs like completion at the end of each day, it wouldn't be for you. There's always and then you're working on one transcript and then somebody calls and says, I need this right away. So you put that one aside. And I do pay like proofreaders to help me out.
All right, let's take a break from the episode and talk about HelloFresh, the sponsor of the show. With HelloFresh, you can get farm fresh portion ingredients and seasonal recipes delivered right to your doorstep. Skip trips to the grocery store and count on HelloFresh to make home cooking easy, fun, and affordable. All right. There's always new flavors to explore with every changing menu of 50 recipes to choose from every week. Just pick your meals and your delivery date. It's that simple. Plans change and life gets busy. That's why HelloFresh lets you easily customize every meal week to week. Tailor everything to your schedule by adjusting your delivery date or skip a week when you're not able to cook at home. My experience with HelloFresh. Yesterday, I cooked
It was barbecue chicken, pizza, flatbread.
chicken flatbread. I did it. Me. Kids loved it. I loved it.
And it was easy, right?
And it was easy.
That's
it only
my
took
thing.
like 10 to 15 minutes. For free breakfast for life, go to HelloFresh.com/freelawyer. For free breakfast for life, go to HelloFresh.com/freelawyer.
Free lawyer.
For one free breakfast item per box while subscription is active. That's free breakfast for life just by going to HelloFresh.com/freelawyer.
Free lawyer.
America's #1 meal kit. Back to the episode. I was just about to ask you, with that type of schedule, are you paid hourly or are you a contractor or salary? How does that work? Because that seems like there's a lot of overtime.
It's so I'm a county employee for Fulton County, and I work for Judge Glanville, and I get a salary for that, and then I get paid per page for transcripts.
Oh.
I'll be staying up too.
Is it paid? Because I'm always covering trials and cases and lawsuits, I am frequently paying on a website to access documents. And so is that money going to you?
No.
Oh.
She's like, no.
I wish that would be. We used to, before they changed the pay structure, we used to be able to sell copies of our transcripts.
You should be able to.
But we can't. Like, once I file it in and it's part of the record, it's then the clerk's office.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
But sometimes you can go to the actual court reporter, and if they're nice, they'll just give you a copy.
Well, that's what I need to do. I need to start making relationships with the court reporters.
Yeah. Just hit me up.
What happens when you're not in court? Are you
working on transcripts?
Yeah,
I guess
exactly.
working on transcripts. So how often are you in court? Is this a everyday, 5 days a week type situation, or do you wait until until you go to trial?
Can I interrupt? Because my
go ahead.
question, I think, is a piggyback, but maybe a pre-piggyback to yours. You said you're assigned to Judge Glanville. Is that are you assigned to a judge, and so when they're in court, you're in court? Is that typically how it works, or how does it work?
Yeah, correct. So in Fulton County, I can't speak for all the other counties, but they're pretty much consistent. Most of the judges will hire their own court reporter. And then, so I just kind of follow his schedule. Right now, we have a lot of civil cases going on, but other court reporters are covering me so that I can get some transcripts done that Judge Whitaker needs for.
Got it. Okay. How long have you been doing this?
I have been a court reporter since 1994.
Oh,
30
my God.
years. I just starting my 31st year. It's like, where has the time gone? And people ask me, or how long do you want to do this? When are you going to retire? And it's like, I don't even want to think about that because I love my job, and it's cool because I get to be, in the courtroom and part of the action of what's going on. But believe it or not, I'm an introvert and I'm not like a people person. I mean, not a people person. I'm not good at like public speaking, stuff like that. So it's nice to be able to sit there and see everything that's going on, but you're really not a part of it, except for this trial. And a lot of it is because of where I,
where you were positioned.
Yes, exactly. In other courts I've been with Judge Glanville for 7 or 8 years. Before that, I worked in other counties, and the court reporter didn't sit like right up front in front of the judge like that. They were like more off to the side. So it's like I'm right there.
Yeah.
Get to see all your
got a lot of camera time
and everything.
I always look so angry, and I'm so like I tell because I'm like known for smiling all the time. I just smile at people, but when I'm focused, I can't think about what my face is doing, and I have that angry look. And my friends will be like, "Why do you look so mad?" And I'm like, "I can't help it. It's just what my face does when it's focused."
I love it. Also, congrats on 30 years. I don't know if I said that's incredible. That's anybody making it 30 years in anything, but in this particular kind of job, that's amazing. So congrats on that.
Thank you. I think it makes a big difference because I like it so much. I enjoy it.
And you were talking about the things you enjoy, that you like being in the action, but also not in the action. What are the other things that you enjoy about it? Out of curiosity.
I don't know. Like I said, I feel like I'm playing a video game. I just love the challenge of the machine.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't enjoy all aspects of it. It is working on the transcripts is just, that's probably my least favorite part. I guess I have a lot of empathy. So I like the fact that I'm in there and I can pretty much everybody in the courtroom, unless you're there for an adoption, you're not in the courtroom for a good reason. You're either a victim's family member or you're a defendant or you're not, it's not where you want to be. So I kind of like that I can, because I'm the neutral person in the courtroom, and I try to just make it, because I remember my first trial, my first death penalty case I did. I was sitting in there and I was a newer court reporter and I could feel the tension in the air. And I remember my hands on my machine just shaking, and you could just feel the seriousness of everything. And it's not like I'm trying to make light of anything, but I'm just like trying to make people more comfortable. So like I hand out candy. During breaks, I'll go up and, I try to say hi to people, and I do it evenly. It's not like I only talk to this side or only, knowing that I can. And this trial has helped me see that it makes a difference, because I guess some people have noticed, and I've had people send me, I've had one letter I got at the courthouse, and I'm like, for somebody to take the time to write a letter to thank me for being kind and to put a stamp on it and to take it to them. I mean, that's nothing that's just, I don't take that for granted. And I've had some phone calls at work, messages left. I've had some social media messages with people thanking me for just being kind. And I'm like, I didn't think anybody really noticed, because I'm just sitting there. But I guess the camera might have picked up me slipping candy to people and stuff. There was one time I did, somebody sent me a clip of when the attorneys came up for a bench conference, and I think it was Mr. Adams. He looked at me and I knew it because he wanted a Jolly Rancher. So I split him a Jolly Rancher. And I think somebody did the court reporter just hand something to
That's hilarious.
And somebody sent me the picture of that. And I'm like, was he like the green Jolly Rancher? So I handed him a Jolly Rancher.
I love it. This is amazing.
It is. Another question for me. What's the career path for this? Is there a school? Do you go to college for this, or is it like a trade? Back in plumbing.
Yeah, it should be. That's how it should be. And there is a shortage of court reporters right now. So they are in it, but it's kind of a scary profession to get into because they are always saying, oh, you're going to be replaced by tape recorders one day or
Oh.
whatever. I mean, I heard that back in the 90s that,
Oh.
you know, and here I am 30 years later. So you pretty much, I don't know what the schooling is like now. I personally went to, I was in Florida, South Florida, where I'm from. I went to Broward Community College and they had a court reporter course there. Here in Georgia, they had Brown Court Reporting. That was the main school for court reporters. I don't think they're open anymore. So I don't know what the schooling is. I think you have to, it's definitely a specialized, it is kind of like a trade. Because not only do you have to learn how to take it down, but then you have to, you know, learn how to do, there's so much more to it. You know, you have to know your grammar to a degree because you're punctuating not very good grammar a lot of times. So what do? You know, I mean, you just try to make it readable.
Yeah.
But
You're talking about grammar. So I'm from Atlanta.
okay.
Sometimes, you know, the lingo can get a little lingo-y.
Mhm.
The accents can accent.
Yes. So how does that work with you when you come across someone with an accent? You know, is it, hey, can you repeat that, or are you just?
I do that. I have my audio backup, several audio backups to make sure that, you know, I can go back and listen. I have in the past, like reached out to like an officer maybe that testified that, you know, you said this, your partner's name this, and could you spell it? You know, I can reach out and get, or during breaks, I can ask, you know, the witness, hey, you mentioned this, how do you spell that? Or, but yeah, you can ask to repeat. You know, for the most part, that's really, you know, just audio backup, and then it just asks, because usually if you didn't understand it, somebody else didn't either. So although for some reason I have done some trials where they think like I have this magic sense of hearing that I can hear that things nobody else can hear. And I had like it was like maybe a medical malpractice case, and it was a doctor from another country with a thick accent, and people were like, well, I hope you understood him because I couldn't. And I'm like, well, then why do you think I could?
I mean, your hearing is important to this. Do you have to have hearing tests annually? How are we verifying that?
I know. Yeah, exactly.
There should be some type of insurance on that.
Yeah, I guess, like I said, that's why I have audio backup and I repeat. I mean, because sometimes I did and I didn't. I mean, when they say it fast, and that's a big difference. Did you say you did or you didn't? You know, I mean, and if I don't understand, or if a door closes when a person says something, or somebody sneezes, and then you can't hear what that one word was, that's when you have to chime in and, you know, I'm sorry, what did you say? Yeah. So, and luckily Judge Glanville was very, you know, all judges have different personalities, but he's always like, hey, you can't hear, you interrupt, you know?
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Somebody here is asking, which I think is a good question, especially because you mentioned the first case being death penalty. How do you, I mean, you talked about the intensity in the courtroom. Obviously a lot of us have been watching the YSL trial or other trials, and when you make it to a trial, it's obviously very serious. How do you keep your emotions in check, or like investment into it? Like, how are you talking to yourself to like maintain? Because even sometimes I'll watch a trial and I'll be crying, you know, if somebody's on the stand and it's emotional. So like, how are you doing that?
It's some of it is that I've been doing it so long that I feel like, you know, it was harder at the beginning. A lot of times too, I go into this zone where I'm taking down what people are saying, but I'm not really taking in the content of it. Mm-hmm. I don't know, like, you know, if you ever been driving somewhere and then all of a sudden you're like, wow, I don't remember what I was just doing the last 5 minutes, but I was driving, you know, it's like, I go into that zone. So maybe, I think that is maybe a way I protect my emotions too. I don't know. And then just, you know, like just to be kind to everybody in the courtroom. I feel like, you know, there's nothing I can do about the sad stuff that's going on, but I can try to encourage the people that are here. It's hard. It's hard not taking things. Like once I found out, like I was done on this trial, I felt this sadness because I felt like, I would see the defendants every morning and I'd be in there setting my stuff up and I'd be like, good morning, everyone, and they'd be like, what chucks you have on today? And, it's like they were all, they're all my son's age. It's sad because you just kind of get to know everybody and all the attorneys. And then all of a sudden it was like, I had been doing that for over a year. And then it was like, it's done. And I'm like, what? It was hard. Yeah.
You talked about the Chucks, but we have to talk about the shoe collection that we've heard about. Your white, what color your shoes is? They white, right? How many Chucks? It's Chucks specifically, or are you just a shoe
It's
girl?
Chucks. So I have to tell you that I'm a nerd. I'm a major nerd. I try to come across like I'm not, but I am. And when Kamala Harris, they were talking about her Chucks and pearls and everything. I'm like, what's that? And I remember calling my son, what are Chucks? He's like, what are you talking about? Converse, Chuck Taylors? And I'm like, is that what Chucks are? And he's like, yeah, they're shoes. And I'm like, well, So anyway, I was like, oh, well, I want to go get a pair of Chucks. So I go look and I'm like, well, what color do I want to get? And this was like back in 2020. And I got like one pair of Chucks and then I don't know. And I do have a little bit of an obsessive disorder sometimes. So at one point I was obsessed with Starbucks cups. I had to collect those. Now Chucks. Yeah. So I haven't counted. I've got like over 100 pairs.
Oh my gosh.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
It's great to collect though, because they're not that expensive.
They're not.
But they're durable.
And they have so many colors.
And they have all
and
the
they
colors.
do. And then I go on eBay and get like the lightly used ones. And
nice.
And it's funny because they're such conversation starters. So I started getting them, but it was during the pandemic. So all the hearings were on Zoom. So you can't tell what shoes I got on.
Oh.
So I was like, that whole thing, it's easier to ask for, forgiveness and permission or some of that.
Yep.
So once we started going back to the courthouse, I was like, should I ask Judge Glanville if I can wear my Chucks or should I just wear them? I'm like, I'll just wear them and see what happens. So and he was like, you just do you, it doesn't matter what's on your feet, but it is such a conversation starter. I mean, the homeless people, when, I'll smile and talk to them on my walk in through the courthouse and they'll be like, oh, I like your Chucks, and I mean, I'll get like sometimes like 5 compliments before I get to my office, nice shoes. Yeah. And it's just like, I don't know, it's fun. It's kind of like a way to bring some fun into a not so fun place to be.
Yeah.
So in fact, we have a death penalty case pending. It's the spa shooter.
Oh, yes. Yeah. I remember that.
So we have that. Yeah, Judge Glanville has that case. And the other day we had some hearings in that case and I went into the courtroom and Mr. Long, who's the defendant, was in there and with the deputy, and I was setting my stuff up and I'm always like, morning, I say good morning to him. And he's like, I just wanted to ask you something. I noticed you've always got like Chucks on. How many pairs do you have? And I'm like, oh, I have a lot, So it's, just a kind of a way to lighten up
people's spirits without even trying.
Especially considering, I mean, again, the venue in which you are in, the things people are accused of, and they are obviously, innocent until proven guilty. But I mean, the seriousness of the accusations, the venue, people are in handcuffs. I mean, it's a whole thing. And so to be able to have just a fun conversation starter about some Chucks because, they've noticed the different colors and styles and ones that you've worn is amazing. I think that's very cool.
Thank you. Yeah, it's fun. And what's funny is when he did call out my Chucks, I think he asked me what color they were, but I was in shell shock because I heard him say sneakers. Well, first of all, I was like, oh my gosh, he's talking about me. And then I heard sneakers. I heard something about she's got on white sneakers. And I'm thinking, they're not sneakers, they're Chucks. He just called my Chucks sneakers. So I think I think the question he asked me what color they were. And I was like, they're Chucks. I didn't even answer because I was just like, he called them sneakers. That's all I was going through.
Wait, did you have to take down what you said? Is that a part of that that day's
Yeah,
transcript?
unfortunately, yeah.
That's wild.
That's so great.
That is wild. So these reports that you do, they stay in a vault or filed forever, huh?
Transcripts? You mean like the completed transcript
Yes.
when I'm done? Yeah. And normally we don't so when we're in superior court where we're just dealing with felonies, and I'm just talking on the criminal side of it. So the transcripts we automatically do are pleas. If someone pleads guilty, we automatically do a plea transcript and file those in. And then we don't do a trial transcript unless there's a conviction.
Oh.
So I hadn't started working on any of this trial because it's still ongoing. I'm just having to do it now to help, the new judge get caught up on everything that happened before she got there. So,
Got it.
but yeah, so normally a trial, you don't do the transcript unless there's a conviction. And then civil is that's a totally different arena.
So somewhere in these transcripts, your Chucks are mentioned.
You want me to send you a copy? I can send you a copy of that volume.
I can send you a copy.
That's what's up.
I was just about to go ahead.
What about in the Karen Reed case? This is what I wanted to know.
yeah.
They had a court reporter, and she had this guard. She was talking into. I'm not sure what she was talking into, but that device. What's that device?
It's like an audio version, it seems.
Right. So since that's not my method, all I can say is from my understanding, they used to call them mask reporters, but I think they're called voice writers now.
Oh.
And from what I understand, there's two different ways. The old way was they repeat everything that they hear into the thing and record themselves, and then they also record the courtroom, and then they go back and listen to between their voice and the courtroom, and they have typists type it up from that, which but I think that it's gotten better now to where, from what I understand, they're now able to use software that will translate their voice or transcribe their voice into the words. So they're able to do a kind of like a real-time transcript like I can. So yeah, it's a totally different method, but
That seems, I don't know. I think the way you do it might be more efficient.
I think, I don't want to put the other way down. I personally wouldn't want to be talking all day.
Yeah.
And then I think, before it became more advanced to where now they have software that will listen to their voice and transcribe it.
Mm-hmm.
Before that, there's no way I would have done it that way because I wouldn't have wanted to go from scratch and type it all up. At least at the end of the day, I have a rough draft in there.
Something. Yeah.
But I do believe their schooling is quicker. I think I think that method you can learn quicker than my method. And also, people that did do my method and had some sort of injury to their wrist and couldn't do the machine anymore, but loved the profession. So they switched over to that method. So.
Oh, that's a good question.
That is a good point. Carpal tunnel.
Yeah. I've been fortunate. I don't know if it's my posture or what, but I know I have some friends that I guess it's the repetitive motion, but no, I've had no issue with my wrists, and
That's amazing.
really
Outside
thankful.
of court reporting, do you do any extracurricular activities?
I'm a nerd, like I told you, right? So I do puzzles.
Oh, that works
I-
out the fingers.
I play Pokemon Go on my phone. And while I play it, I usually wear my Pokemon Chucks.
Oh, I love this.
Oh, but I did want to tell you,
Yes.
the CEO, I don't know what his name is, of Converse was at the courthouse. This was way before this trial. He was up there, I think, for jury duty or something. And I found out he was the CEO of Converse, and I was like a little kid in Disney World. It was like, oh my gosh, you work for Converse. I have a bunch of Chucks on. And I just thought of it because the Pokemon Chucks had just come out.
Oh.
I said, I even just ordered my pair of Pokemon Chucks. And he's laughing and he's smiling. And I'm waiting for him to say, hey, give me your card. I'll hook you up,
Yeah.
And I'm going on and on. And I'm like, he's like, all right, nice to meet you. And I'm like, I told my friends about it. And they're like, I wouldn't even buy Chucks anymore. And I'm like, I'm too invested now. I've got like, at that point, maybe I had 50 pair. I'm like, I can't. But I was so disappointed.
Yes.
I'm like,
I thought this story was going to end with the free pair of Chucks.
yeah, that he sent me a free pair. That's how I thought it was going to end.
And
But no, it didn't. No,
Lame.
I
You got to
know.
get a new obsession.
Yeah. That's cool.
It is.
Oh, and I also is something I love to do on the side too is I have a virtual, because this, I got to continue the nerd thing, the virtual reality headset, the Oculus. Do you know what that is?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, and I do mainly like the exercise stuff on there. I do the boxing and this thing called Supernatural and Beat Saber. To the music, you hit the block, stuff that kind of gets you moving. I do that too. But yeah, other than that, homebody. Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out why you haven't had any type of problems. So it's probably because you stay moving all the time. So that's good.
Maybe I try to stay active. Yeah. I don't eat sugar and flour, and I think that makes a big difference. But that's a whole nother topic for another day. You don't want to hear about the no sugar.
Hey, I want to hear about it, but everybody else doesn't. I believe it's the no sugar.
I'll ask you one more question before we let you go, and thank you again for your time. Someone is asking in the Patreon, can someone challenge your transcript? Can someone say that's not what was said or that's not, what happened? Has that ever happened, and is that possible?
It hasn't. No one's ever challenged my transcripts. I think, from what I understand, the law is if you do think that there's something, for example, I heard this was happening in another, in fact, a friend of mine was telling me about it. It was, somebody was challenging something in in the court reporter's transcript during the jury charge. They said that the judge said something wrong, but she fixed it or something.
Oh.
So from what I understand, you have to say specifically what it is. You can't just say that transcript's not what I said. You have to specifically say this was said and it's not in there. And then from there, from what I understand, if there's a backup audio, then the judge can listen to it and verify it that way. Okay. And there might be, I've never just been in that position. So, and if somebody did, I've seen typos in my transcripts. So
I'd
imagine so.
Yeah, but I've never had anyone come up and say that that I did that there was something of substance missing from it.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if that really answered the question.
No, I think it did. No,
okay.
That was good.
To conclude this, if someone wants to be a court reporter, they should just reach out, Google it basically to see if there's classes, courses, that any educational.
Right. Yeah. That would the National Court Reporters Association, which is NCRA, they probably have they're probably a good resource of the different schools. And I think a lot of it can be done online now, I think.
Yeah.
But I love the profession. It's not for everybody, but it is, I don't know. I really, really enjoy it and I love it. So.
One more question. Do you have court reporter friends?
Acquaintances, I would say. I don't really have any like court reporter friends that I hang out with outside of work, talking about work stuff or,
Cool.
Yeah. I think I find that a lot of professions that police officers don't hang, they're not friends with outside of work or other professions. But yeah, now that I think about it, I don't have like any court reporters that I'm all buddy with that we do stuff on weekends or anything. And really, we never really see each other because we're all so busy in court doing our own thing. And the only court reporters I'll see might be the one in the office next to me or that side. And then we'll see each other going in and out. But we're spread around the courthouse, so we don't really see each other. Emails, questions and stuff.
Cool.
Okay.
Cool.
Okay.
Cool.
Well, I absolutely enjoyed this conversation.
Oh,
This
thank
was
you.
amazing. Thank you so much for responding and being open to being here and having this. I think we've all walked away
Yes.
learning something.
I like learning new things, and
This
this
is
is
great.
crazy that I've never heard of this until now. But
Well, thank
oh,
you for inviting me. And you need transcripts. I'm your girl. Just reach out.
I absolutely have your
Will
email
do.
now, so I will do that.
Okay.
All
what
right.
size shoe do you wear?
You got to send her some
And a
chucks.
half. Eight and a half.
Okay.
Eight and
If
a half
this
in
doesn't end in
Converse.
you sending her some chucks, sir.
I mean,
No, you don't have to. But if the CEO
yes,
Yes.
of
that's who I'm gonna reach out to.
Converse, he
I'ma
owes
tell
me.
him.
He owes you. I love it. Thank you again. Have
Thank
a
you.
good day.
Nice to meet you. Thank
You
you.
too.
You too.
All
All
right.
right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right. All right. What?
Nothing.
Okay. All right. So we will let you go.
Okay, I didn't know if I
and-
had to hit something to disappear. I was looking at the comments over here because I couldn't
Uh-huh.
really look at them.
Oh no, they all loved you.
Oh,
That went
We
I
smooth.
heard somebody told me that there was a little Miss Weaver fan club on. I don't watch any of the clips or anything,
Oh,
or
yeah.
I don't, I just stay away from all that. But it made a few of my friends are like, "Yeah, people really like you," and I'm like,
people
"Oh,
love you. People
That's
love you. The
sweet.
And you have
picture
good
that you
energy.
took as well. I know that's what everybody was saying. They just really.
oh, my picture." Yeah, I saw him out in the hallway, and I was like, "I got extra Jolly Ranchers back there. You want them?" And he's like, "Can I get my picture with you?" So yeah, I was,
Yeah, I think you were the first to like humanize him in a way for people who are like tuned in, which was really nice to see. So
And like I said, I try to be kind to everybody. So
Yeah. It's great. All right, thank you again.
Thank
Have a good one.
you.
So that was a lot of fun.
It was.
Thank you, Kristina Weaver, for joining us and educating us about court reporters. Because when's the last time you have been able to talk to a court reporter?
And who
Ever.
knew it wasn't a typewriter?
I literally, in my mind, it was a typewriter. I mean, now that she says it, it makes sense. Like, of course, it couldn't have been a typewriter because how do you type that fast? But also, who knew? Who knew?
That's wild. And it's
Yeah.
not Morse code. I thought it had the dee. I thought that was the only thing that uses sound for words.
Oh, I don't really know Morse code.
Ain't it Morse code, y'all?
I don't really
I
know.
don't know if it's Morse code, but my dad was learning it on the Navy ships, and they use that little tink 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 tink. Yeah, that's Morse code, right?
Okay.
Y'all know what I'm talking about.
Okay, so now let's go into the second part of this episode. I know it's a bit long, but we have just got to talk about what's been happening because it's been interesting. This week, Kenneth Copeland, aka Woody, okay, I'm gonna say his name right because he requested people say his name correctly. Still on the stand, and we finally have gotten to cross-examination. It has taken forever, but we have finally arrived at cross-examination. And Brian Steele was up first to do his cross, which was good. And then yesterday he did more cross, and I just want to play a couple clips from his cross from yesterday, which is Wednesday again, because he focused on the second part of his cross was really about jail calls, and he played a bunch of jail calls that Woody had, and I just found them to be interesting. So I'm going to play a couple, and then we can have this conversation.
If I cooperate, they give me a year with no probation. They came here, they be like, if I cooperate, they give me a year with no probation. If I give my testimony, I'm like, I don't want to have nothing to do with this case. I don't got anything to say. I'm not a witness or whatever. So the DA man was like, so it's okay. We don't need you. Like, we have so many people telling on Young Thug. I was like, well, you know what I mean? I just asked you, y'all don't try to drag me in it. You know what I mean? My whole thing is I'm trying to prove my innocence. Y'all trying to pin a murder charge on me. Man, listen, I ain't got nothing to do with no murder. Everybody saying I did it. I ain't got nothing to do with it. I lied on Thug because, you know what I mean, I found out that he I can't say that. I can't say that on the phone, but, you know what I mean? It's some shit happened between me and him back then. And just so happened I got locked up the next day.
Mr. Copeland, would you mind telling the jury, the person you're speaking with, who that is in relation to you?
My sister.
And did you hear that you mentioned that you lied on Thug. Did you hear that in there?
Yes.
Mr. Copeland, were you arrested in April, if you remember, April 2015?
I don't know.
Do you remember the song Halftime that the jurors have heard about?
Yes.
That being released. I'm not saying created, but released in and around April 2015.
It was released when I was in jail.
And the timing of that release was not good for you. The police used the lyrics to Mr. Williams as against you, that Woody would punch someone in the noggin or shoot someone in the noggin, whatever the words are, right?
Yes.
So I wanted to play that for a couple reasons. Number one is he says, only reason I lied on Thug is because I can't say that on the phone, but it just so happened that I got arrested the next day. And then what you hear is Brian Steele referencing the song in which Thug says, you mess with me or something, Lil Woody gonna pop at your noggin. Mm-hmm. So what it seems, I'm not a lawyer and I'm not saying this is the truth, but what it seems that Steele is putting across, right, is that Woody was mad at Thug because Thug made a song, and there's more to back this theory up, but is Thug made a song, and in that song said, you mess with me and Lil Woody gonna pop at your noggin. Mm-hmm. The very next, so that song comes out. Woody was in jail when it came out, but around the time that the song comes out, he gets out of jail, and the very next day he gets arrested again. When he gets arrested again and is in there talking to the officers, one of the officers, I think he said Gaither or Dennis, Dennis, says to him, basically, that song is what made us come at you. That song is what put us onto you. That song is why you in hot water. And so even though he doesn't say it on the call, the theory is that he was mad because Thug put his name in there. Now he's hot. Mm-hmm. Cops is after him. So he has an attitude. So now he's in the interrogation room. And because he's mad, he's like, you know who I could lie on right now? Thug. Let me put him in some stuff simply because I'm mad at him. Mm-hmm. That seems to be the origin of a lot of this. Him being upset over that song.
But he's also said that he mentioned Thug because he knew to get Thug, to put them onto Thug, and Thug is a celebrity.
Yes, 100%.
But they won't be able to get him.
Yes.
It'll get him off of me.
100%.
So both.
What I'm saying is the reason that he's mad, so let me tie him into this, but also I can tie him into this because there's no way they're actually going to arrest him because I'm making it up. Yeah. And so that's actually, I'm going to play this next clip and it kind of goes into what you're saying.
Man, when I got locked up, man, I was trying to say whatever got them to get these people to let me go. And shit, though I said backfired on them. At the end of the day, shit, they know it ain't nothing but some bullshit. That's why they putting it out there like this. Like I told her, shit, man. That what happened when I think I got all the sense. I ain't really think this shit was going to go there far. I mean, but shit, they knew I was bullshitting. Well, let me tell you something about me, bro. When these motherfuckers locked me up, bro, and they got me. If I wanted to get anybody locked up or say anything, I could have started out by saying who the gun belongs to. Like, I'm sitting in jail for another nigga gun. You know what I mean? So a lot of people look at their video or the interview and they be thinking like, oh damn, this what's going on. And my imagination is crazy. Like, I put the shit together in a heartbeat and get what? And try to talk my way out of it. If it didn't work, it didn't work. Shit, at the end of the day, it ain't nothing.
That's a problem. You talk too much. You sometimes need to shut up.
But now when I tell you, now you're saying shit up.
No, I'm just saying, like, in general, like, sometimes you just can't shut the fuck up. Talk much.
Wow, you don't think I'll kick myself on the head for this? Like I said, well, I wasn't mad at you. I was more mad at myself. You know what I mean? Because I should, for real, I knew better. I'm so mad at myself, bro.
Yeah, you need to be.
I am. They put me in front of the judge. I'm sure gonna speak up. I'm explaining to the judge exactly what these people doing. Like, ain't no in here. They gonna be holding me in jail.
You're always trying to explain something to somebody.
Yeah, you're right. I'm dumb.
Golly. Why you in the situation you in now? Always trying to please your case.
I be thinking I be having all the sense.
You don't
I don't have none at all.
at all.
So if you heard that, he says, I didn't think this was going to get this far. Okay. And this jail call is from 2023. Okay. This is last year. It's not 2015. It's from last year when he's well aware about this RICO. He's well aware that they want him to testify. He's well aware of what the claim is and that a ton of it came from his police interviews. And so what he says throughout that call, that was only some clips of it. That was not Deshawn, by the way, the mother of his children. That was another woman in which he was asked repeatedly who that was. And he just kept saying, my friend. Anyway, he says, I didn't expect it to get this far because I knew the police could not back up what I was saying. I knew the police could not. Essentially, I'm saying Thug is a part of this. There's no evidence to support that he's a part of this. So I can throw this lie off to throw them off my tracks, but they're going to realize, figure out that it's BS.
If they did their job.
If they did their job. And that is what he is saying. And that is what, of course, the defense is saying. You made this up. And part of Steele's cross was where is the evidence to support this? When you said that you were here and made this call to Thug, are there any phone records to show that you actually had this conversation on this day? When you said that you were at the Cascade skating ring and you finally, made amends with Shell Kell and then y'all called Thug right there and Thug said no, is there any phone records to support that call happening? Is there any tracking to say, yeah, this is where your phone pinged off of to show that you really were where you said? And the problem thus far is that no evidence has been shown. Thus far, the trial's not over. Thus far, the state has presented not a phone expert, not a Cellbrite, not a nothing. They presented social media images, and I'm not saying it's not enough. This is the facts. Thus far, they presented social media images that support their theory of what they say is happening, but they haven't shown the kind of evidence that we're used to.
They were expecting, I'm about to say Woody. They was expecting him to just regurgitate everything and agree with everything he did back 2015 and say, yes, all this happened. They did not expect him to come up here and be, I lied to y'all.
Yeah.
And everything I've said has been a lie.
Yeah.
Period. So if they would have did the investigation like you're saying, none of this, they wouldn't even be in this whole situation. That's why this trial should just end and they should try but next time.
To be fair, there's a whole lot of charges in here, and there are a whole lot of this is not the only murder that is alleged in this indictment. There is another, maybe two, but for sure one.
But
mine is just not remembering.
Is Woody the witness?
Well, I don't. If he was the witness, he would have testified about it already. So my assumption would be no. Okay. They will have other people testify about the other murder. But thus far, what's also interesting to me, because a lot of people, Woody is the self-proclaimed liar. He said, I lied. I'm Mr. Make-Believe. I lied. And while in theory, right, and thus far, it's like, man, it's so crazy. This is their witness, their star witness, he's saying he's a liar. And while all of that is like crazy theoretically, I think Max Shart's cross-examination really showed the danger and the problem with having Woody as the star witness, because yes, he's a liar. And so if he said, I didn't steal those pants, he really stole them, okay, whatever, he's a liar. But what Max Sharp showed is that he lied. His lies directly impacted the murder, according to them, in this case. And his lies were to cover up his actions. It wasn't a simple, no, I didn't steal those pants or steal that car, even though I did it. It was, I made up, invented people, made up scenarios, and implicated people in a situation in which allegedly they have nothing to do with. I'm not saying it's the truth or not, but this is the point. He made up lies and implicated people into a murder that in which they had nothing to do with, and it was really to cover up the fact that I may be responsible for it. I'm actually in it. You know, he said, yeah, and then I went to the McDonald's and met with I forgot who, and they told me that they just killed Nut. That's what happened, right? That's major, because now there's a RICO case against these guys based off of what you said. And what Max Sharp did was break down, and I think what's really important as regular people is that we always want to know why. Right? Like anytime you hear about a crime, it's like, what is the motive? Right? And for me personally, I have struggled with the actual motive behind Donovan Thomas's murder that the state has put across.
Okay.
Because yes, it's like gang related, right? Like, okay, it's gang related. But even the state was saying that this started with Woody and Shelkel.
Yep.
So if it started with Woody and Shelkel, they are literally going at each other. Why randomly on January 9th did the other gang members take it upon themselves to go handle it, right? Their houses hadn't gotten shot up yet. Their family hadn't gotten shot up yet. So why did they say, we're so mad on behalf of Woody that we're going to go do this? That is what I've constantly struggled with.
Yeah, for Thug to, hey, let me rent
Order
this car
it.
for you and go use it.
Yeah, because we're
in
mad
my
at him
name.
on your behalf.
Yeah.
Like, if you're not my blood family, like, I would be like, yeah, you should go get them because they disrespected you. Not me, you. Good luck with that. You. And yesterday was the first time that there was a motive and a theory that was put across that, for me, actually made sense. And so that was what Max Sharp did. And so it's a bit long, but and if you watch my recap, you already have seen this, but I just want to play the way Max Sharp weaved together his theory.
No.
You do not want to be here today.
At all.
It is because what you said in 2015 was lies.
Right.
You lied to get out of trouble.
Right.
You lied as part of your finesse to the police.
Right.
And you said you will do anything to stay out of jail. Do anything includes lying on others, correct?
Yes.
On June 10th, 2015, Investigator Cunningham told you that you were facing potentially federal charges.
I think they said open and shut case.
No early release. She said that they were typically going to send you to some other state to serve your federal time behind this.
Right.
She told you that you were facing 15 years without parole, plus another 10 years without parole. You were 23 at the time, and Agent Cunningham told you, if you don't play ball, you're going to be locked up in a federal prison in another state until you are 48 years old. Isn't that correct?
Yes.
Agent Cunningham also said that all this is up to you. It's totally up to you, right?
I think we all heard what she said to me.
It was time to finesse?
Yeah.
Does that include lying?
That's the first thing first.
I'm going to play the rest, but I just want to quickly say, in addition to being a self-proclaimed liar, what Max Sharp just showed is that there's this added level, this added layer of the investigators and the state and the police almost encouraging, come up, you better tell us something. So if you're a liar and now you're having people encourage, you better tell us something, what you gonna do? Make up a bigger lie that's gonna make them believe it. You gonna get real creative, and that's the point Max Sharp was giving, is that they are threatening your freedom, telling you you're gonna be locked up for years and years, out of state, away from your family, away from your kids, unless you help yourself.
And he did.
And what did he do? Come up with a story.
I'll come up with one too.
Well, that's what he said. He said, you say your name. Say Donald Trump. I'll come up with a story
Let's
about
talk
him.
about the stolen IDs in the rental car, June 10th, 2015. You're being asked about how those stolen items ended up in your apartment and your rental car. And you're telling investigators that you didn't do those auto breakings that resulted in those items being stolen. You're saying it was Little Mike and Quez from Etheridge?
Yes.
Mr. Copeland, Lil Mike is not a real person, is he?
No.
That was the finesse. You invented a person out of thin air, correct?
Yes.
Quez is not a real person. You invented him out of thin air on the spot, correct?
Yes.
Fictional characters.
I done told y'all this is what I do.
Again, making up people.
Hanging.
Go ahead.
The way he's feeding Woody, it's almost like when you're talking to a child and you're like, you're strong. And they're like, yeah, I'm strong. And he's like, you finessed him, D. That's what I do. You know, he's agreeing to things to me that's hurting him. But that's my
But I the one thing I do feel about Woody is that he has been, I mean, if he's being honest, because he's a finesser. Okay. That's the problem with a liar. You never know when they're not lying. Okay. So is he lying now or did he lie then? That's the question. When do you stop lying? He is saying, I'm not lying anymore. I lied then, but I'm coming clean now. I made this all up. That is his claim now, but who knows if it's the truth. But the thing about what he's saying is that, anyway, he's a liar. So I don't know. I'm going to just keep playing it.
From Mr. Thomas's neck. It's a chain of the Planters Peanut Man. You are aware that in late 2014, Donovan Thomas's chain went missing, correct?
Right.
Someone stole it.
If that's what you want to call it. Let's just get to your question. You want to know, did I take the change?
We're going to get there. We're going to get there. And not only his chain, but his ID, his wallet, his phone, correct?
Right.
Mr. Copeland, the reality is, late in 2014, you broke into Donovan Thomas's truck. Isn't that correct?
The door was open.
The reality is, you knew that was Donovan Thomas's truck. You know what he drove. You went into his truck and took his peanut chain. You knew it was Donovan Thomas's peanut chain, but you didn't care. Donovan Thomas called his phone and you answered. Isn't that correct?
Yeah.
The reality is, you knew that Donovan Thomas knew that you stole his stuff. You and Donovan Thomas were far from cool. On January 6th, 2015, you were at Club Crucial. You were in possession of a large amount of money and you were showing off. In front of all these people at this club, Kelvin Watts, Shell Kell, Donovan Thomas's brother, jumped you. He gave you a black eye.
He punched me in the back. He didn't hit me he didn't face me off.
Well, you had a swollen face.
Because another nigga hit me.
Okay. Who was with Shell Kell?
What's up, bro?
They tried to run your pockets. Pardon my language, it pissed you off.
Just like you is.
2 days later, on January 8th, 2015, you found out that Nut and Rich Homie Quan were outside the TIG studios on Metropolitan Avenue, didn't you?
I don't know what you're talking about.
You got in that rented Infiniti and drove up to that studio, didn't you? You took your gun with you. You stood outside the fence and you shot at TIG studios. And you put a bullet in Rich Homie Quan's truck. Did you not?
You got proof?
Was Trevante with you when you went to the TIG studios?
Yeah, you got proof?
Back in 2015, you didn't know any of these gentlemen to have a personal beef with Donovan Thomas.
I never said I did.
The reality, Mr. Copeland, you were the person who had a problem with Donovan Thomas. Isn't that correct? You were the one that broke into Donovan Thomas's car. You've admitted to it. You're the one that stole Donovan Thomas's chain. You're the one that shot up Donovan Thomas's friend, Rich Homie Quan's father's barbershop. You're the one that was going back and forth with Donovan Thomas's brother, Kelvin Watts. You've called his brother a waste of space in October 2021, didn't you? You said that people would cheer if he died.
I will. Back in the days.
You're the one who got jumped by Donovan Thomas's brother on January 6, 2015 at Club Crucial. And you're the one that shot up TIG recording studio on January 8th, 2015. Isn't that correct? The Bloods had a gang meeting on the Thursday before Donovan Thomas was killed, 2 days before, on the same day that you shot up TIG studios.
I don't know what you're talking about.
You said that the whole meeting was based on you, that Mo from behind the wall had put the green light on you, not anyone else. He put the green light on you. You've told the police at that meeting, Donovan Thomas went whoop, approved of the orders to kill you. You told the police that the gang members handed out guns to younger people, and the plan was to trick you to come to the gas station. And the only reason you weren't killed is because someone told you about it. In January 2015, Donovan Thomas was coming after you. Mr. Copeland, you're not the type of guy to back down, are you? No further questions.
All right.
So that was long, but it was the lead up. It was Shart giving what he says is motive. It was none of the gang members in YSL having a beef with Donovan Thomas or Shell Kell. It was you who had the beef. You are the one who stole Donovan Thomas's stuff. You're the one who shot up TIG Studios. You're the one who had the fight with Shell Kell at the at the Club Crucial. And so when you think about it, the beef was you and them. And so when you find out that Donovan Thomas and whoever this person behind the wall is has okayed for them to kill you, you kill them first. And it just so happened that days before, you asked Thug to rent you a vehicle because of all the stuff you had been doing prior, and you had you were hot. So you had your girl and your baby, and you needed a vehicle to get around Atlanta in because you were hot. You were doing things and you were hot. So you ask him to get you a car. This is what the defense is claiming. He gets you a car because he gets everybody cars. He rents cars for everyone because a lot of the people he hangs around with and comes from in that neighborhood don't have vehicles, don't have whatever. So he just rents cars and allows them to drive it. You asked, he got the car for you, and then you do stuff in the vehicle. But they're saying that actually has nothing to do with Thug. It's what you chose to do with the vehicle once you had it.
Attorney Sharp did his job.
Yeah.
That was mic drop.
Yeah.
He did the way he positioned it, the way he spoke to him and got him all jittery and to respond. I didn't think Woody was going to respond to some of those questions.
Yeah. I mean, and some of them he didn't. He just sat there, or he said, "I'm listening."
Yeah.
Saying "I'm listening,"
Yes.
or how you know that, or you got proof.
Yes. Come on, man. I don't recall.
As a juror, I'm like, okay, sir.
Yes.
All
Get
right,
outta here.
sir.
Why
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, that was good.
Yeah. I think that the way he weaved it together, especially if you were like me and you were waiting for the full connection, the full picture, and then you are presented with an alternative option, an alternative way that this could have happened, which one is easier to believe? Which one makes the most sense? One of my favorite judges, I think it was Judge Millian, would say, if it don't make sense, it's not the truth. If it's something like that. Anyway, the point is, I sound like George W. But anyway, the point is that when you're looking as people, I think we naturally look for things that make sense. And the way he presented that was the first time that I said, oh, this makes sense.
That whole scenario matches verbatim so many beefs that go on in between people.
Yeah.
Especially in that type of environment. Because these boys be robbing each other, and they got to get their get back. That's how it always happens. You stole from me, you ran off on the plug, you did this, you did that, and they handle it. And I don't see well, I do see. I see this being the nail on the head for that case. I don't see them convicting Thug. And if the jury heard this is
Well, again, this is one charge in a 56 count indictment
convicting the other guys
for this murder.
For nuts
yeah,
murder.
100%. That I do question. The other thing, and then we can wrap it up because we've been here a long time. But the other thing that I think Woody got himself in trouble with a little bit is that we've all seen him slip up. We've all seen him say stuff like, if somebody did something to them, it won't nobody gonna have no sleep. When he was talking about his girl and his baby, if somebody had did something to them, well, nobody gonna have no sleep. We've heard him say, even in I think the clip I played, or he was talking about Max Sharp. Yeah, he's a waste of space, and I would have been clapping. Nobody would have been mad if he did, right? You see these like glimpses of his anger show up. You see these glimpses of like who he is when he's in that space, right? The trial has shown that side show up. And so for Sharp to end saying, you're not the type to back down, are you? In my mind, we've seen he's not. We've seen him say he's not. We've seen him say, I mind my business until you got a problem, and then you got a problem, right? You've seen that energy. So for him to lay that out, there's this beef, there's this back and forth, there's this, and now you hear that they're after you, and you're not the type to back down. My mind immediately goes to, he not. You right.
Because
you right.
I told you, he set it up, and he was talking to him how you talk to a child, and you're like, oh, you're strong, and the child like, yeah, and that's what Sharp did with him.
Yeah.
You're not scared. You know I ain't never scared.
I ain't never scared. It
Like,
ain't never
yeah.
about that.
You right.
Yep. And so that it was just masterful, in my opinion. That, and I'm not a lawyer, Max Sharp is, and that was masterful.
Yeah, he did
the
that one
way
good.
that he ended, the way he took you on a journey through all of that. He's a lawyer, a liar, not a lawyer, self-proclaimed liar. Here's all the examples of him lying. Here's the added pressure from the investigators encouraging him to lie and involve people in it. And then here's the sequence of events.
And then when he mentioned nut chain, Woody was like, man, you just want to know.
Yeah,
hold on.
Yeah,
We gonna get there.
take your time. We're going to take our time.
I got my
I got a plan.
my outline right here.
Yeah, it was good.
That was.
So anyway, that is today's episode. Thank you again to Kristina Weaver for joining us. Thank you for watching. We'll be back next week. What you got to say?
None.
Okay.
That was good.
Make sure you like, subscribe, share, do all the things, and join the Patreon if you're not a member. We watch things live. This episode is filmed with them live. They get to ask the questions. And that's all. Follow me on all the things. I'm not a lawyer, but
Let me know if y'all know any other court reporters, if one of your children become a court reporter. I want to know the schooling process. I would like to.
you gonna become one?
Girl, I can't type like that. I'll be do the face mask.
It's gonna take you.
I wonder if
5
they change
years
voices.
to do one transcript.
Hey,
You gonna be fired. Say where they can find you at.
You can find me on IG, GOOLZBY, Building with Goose on YouTube.
Until next time, take us out.
Court is adjourned.